Well, hello. Welcome to From Domain to Profit Hotel Room Edition. I'm down here in Orlando, Florida, and here with my family. And well, now I'm here with you. So hopefully my audio shows up. Please hit me in the chat if it's not, and if there's any issues with tech. Hopefully, signal and everything goes pretty clearly. So I am live here, and today we're going to be looking at purchasing some domain names as I'm sorry, I'm looking over settings, making sure that I have everything clear here. And there's a chance that I will drop during this broadcast. I'll try to pick it right back up if I do. So we are live. We're going to be talking about some of the domain names I've purchased over the last week from private buyers, and talk about why I've purchased some of those domain names. What's the plan? What's the thought? What's the reason why there's a little bit of a push here towards the end of the year, and why I'm doing it all in a year advance of when they're actually going to be developed, or close to a year. So, and then also we're going to, I do have domain names to share that I found in the auctions that are coming up over the next week. I'm going to share those with you. So you might find a domain name that is up for auction this week that you're interested in buying, that can be your opportunity to launch your business as well. So I'm going to get things going and see you on the other side.
From domain to profit, domain to profit. From a dot to a business idea. Take a domain. Name develop and income from domain to profit. We'll show you.
Okay. Hopefully we're not going to be dealing with a ton of technical issues, but I am hopefully going to be able to adjust and adapt to them as they come. So let me see here. Chris, nice to see you. Yeah, there's a little bit of garble in my ears as well. Hopefully it's out there clear enough. I can try to move over to my.
How about this? I don't know. We'll try my laptop sound and see if that's any better by chance. It sounds better in my ears, so we'll see what happens. Okay. But there is a chance. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Wow. What a crazy way to start this show. But it is the last one of the year. I'm remote. We got overlooking Disney parks out there. And, but I'm inside right here with you. And we're going to be talking about domain names, domain name development, and hopefully we can, change some lives. So, okay. Well, and thanks for everybody that's coming in now. Peter, let me know it's better. Matt as well. Thank you. Ahmed and Lee as well. So lots of people in here viewing. There is a chance that we're going to run into some issues with signal and stuff. Apologies if that happens. I'm actually right now running all this through my cellular network because the Wi-Fi in the room was so bad. So, yeah, got to adapt. So what I want to talk about a little bit today is the domain names that we have available. So let me read over those actually, just so I make sure that I get those out to you. We have some fun ones. We'll talk about some of the business ideas for these. Let me share out my screen as I'm going to go over to the, where's that place I always go? Oh yeah, expireddomains.net, which is right over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this out. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see some of the domain names I picked out for us this week. So vehicle market value, if you want to, compete with Kelley Blue Book, if you want to, let me see, transportation trader, Real Estate Award, and I believe realestateawards.com. So we have the plural and the singular on those. Highschoolseniors.com, maybe something fun we can do with that. Allergyblog.com, click button, boat dealerships, nice, easy directory option there. Car accident injuries. I don't know. We'll see. City monitoring, bannercompany.com, sportinvestor.com, autoskills.com, and experiential travel. Maybe. So if any of those are of interest, what I'll do is if you mention in the comment, I'm happy to kind of choose one of those to do a business plan over. Otherwise, were you even able to see those? I had the list up on the screen, and I just realized that you probably couldn't even see it. So let me just scroll down through those. So anybody that's videoing it here. So here's those domains that I just mentioned there. And these are all over on GoDaddy auctions. So, check them out. Okay. As you can see, vacation mode, it makes it a little more difficult. And, I don't have all the cameras around, all the fancy stuff. And let me see, Lee is sharing out as well that freightjobs.com is coming up soon over on GoDaddy auctions as well. Peter, awesome to have you here, man. He's my brother at arms in the domain development world. So at some point, he's going to be like right over here, like right next to me, and we'll be chatting and talking domain name stuff. So, and let me see here. Nice to have you here, Dominic. And let me see. He's mentioning one of the ones that he has as well. So while I'm live today, I am open to you can mention in the chat, you can tweet at me, and if you have a domain name that you're looking to sell, specifically, they need to follow into our business model. And that's why we're buying domain names. We have a business model where we share a domain name out to like a national domain name like towing.com, movingcompany.com, djs.com. We're sharing these giant domain names with the many, many local companies that could benefit from those domain names. And that's been our business model, and we're locking it in we've been locking it in over most of this year, and over the next year, we're going to prepare to rapidly develop these domain names by third, fourth quarter of next year. So we're trying to we're looking for domain names that fit that model. So we're looking for domain names. Peter, I got ductcleaners.com from Peter. We got, my goodness, we've been on a buying spree. Detailer.com. We purchased that one, just finished that one up, as well as hopefully maybe by the end of this show, I'll be able to share some of the other ones that are just kind of in a pending state, so I'm not able to share them quite yet. So if you have a domain name that's kind of those, they describe a service, especially a local service, no geodomains, all.com, 2 words or less, we're interested in seeing them. And the nice thing is there's also the benefit of if you mention them here, who knows, maybe I can get you a higher price than what I'm even willing to pay, which that is one of the things I'm actually going to talk about today is, the price that we pay sometimes is on the high end, higher than what you're probably able to get elsewhere. And other times we won't even pay what you could probably get from, other, domain investors. So why is that? We'll talk a little bit about that, as well as just talk about the why we're buying the domain names. Yes, we have this business model in mind, but what the heck's that have to do with anything? Why is this business model important, especially to us? And, I'm going to start with that. So if you see a domain name on that list over on the GoDaddy auctions, let me share that out next to me. Feel free to kind of mention out. Let me see. I'm not going to be able to get that to show up. Okay. So if you see a domain name over there that you're interested in having me do a 3-minute business plan, let me know. So let me just do a quick little one on vehiclemarketvalue.com. Vehicle market value. I don't have all the graphics and things like that, but when I grab this one, what does Kelley Blue Book do? They talk about the market value for a domain name. They also compare the dealership value and things like that. So Possibly you're wanting to get into the data as far as vehicle market values, but I don't know if Kelley Blue Book has an API. If they do, that would be a fun little adventure. You can pull their API, show it on your domain name, and then I'm thinking, vehicle market value, and then you can have you could show like maybe vehicle classifieds next to it, things like that. Maybe show the ones that are under market value, add up market value, above market value, kind of let people search your vehicles based on market value. Vehicle classifieds would be something along the lines of a per post. So they're going to be paying some amount of money to list a vehicle, possibly upgrade it to a featured one, maybe a free listing just to be included. It's something we've experimented more and more over the last month, and we're going to continue to experiment with on our paid sites, is this idea of free listings. In our case, here's a little bit of a secret. Our free listings are going to be free listings where you don't get it necessarily entirely for free. Instead, you pay with time. So they have to invest a little bit of time to keep that free listing active or to get it active. So we kind of say, hey, it doesn't cost you any money, but it's going to cost you time to get this. And the time, it's kind of like, think Facebook, you put your time, your eyeballs on their product. They have ads and different things that they show you to make it valuable enough to them to include a free listing. That's what we're going to be including. So I'll call that kind of our first 3-minute business plan, which was vehicle market value. And while I'm at it, let me just go over here and click on this just to make sure that, because some of these, and that one is still live over on GoDaddy Auctions. And let me pull. I am flying by the seat of my pants on these. I'm going to share out a different screen so I can show you when they expire and things like that. So bear with me while I pull this up. Okay. I thought I'd be fat. I usually have multiple screens and stuff. It's so much nicer when you have multiple screens to drag tabs around and things too. So in fact, that's one of the things I always tell people is if you want to improve your productivity, get multiple screens. So what screen are we sharing out? So that one ends. Hopefully you can see this. No, you can't yet. So how about now? Okay, so that's vehicle market value, $12, ends in 3 days over on GoDaddy Auctions. So there you go. There you go. Okay, well, that's our first little impromptu 3-minute business plan. Apologies for not being able to look directly at you. I got to work on my different screens and things. So, hey, Vito, nice to see you, man. Mr. Concert streaming. So, awesome to have everybody. Like, this is show 23. Usually you get a little more of a formal show. I get to be at my stand-up desk, bring a little energy, have all kinds of bells and whistles and buttons to press. Like my ADD kicks up and I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm sitting in a chair in a hotel room. But we're going to try our best. So let me just tell you this. Our business plan, and I think the position of you as a domain investor, you have an opportunity to help small businesses in a way that most just don't. And it's the power of a domain name, the power of a brilliant .com that defines an industry that all too often we're out there trying to, buy and then sell and profit from in some way. But there's simple business plans that you can put on a .com domain name that will allow you to, of course, as we talk about on a weekly basis, you can make a monthly revenue off. You can make some kind of passive income once it's developed, once it's up and running. So that monthly income hopefully is enough to entice you to not, only look to sell a domain name. One of the things I'm hoping to do by about, into third quarter next year is to come to many of the domain investors out there that have these category defining domain names, possibly like towing.com, duckcleaners.com, some of the ones that we're looking to buy, and maybe we can't afford the domain name at the price that you're asking, or whatever it may be. Hopefully, we'll be able to entice you to develop out that domain name, or possibly let us develop it for you. I'm going to talk a little bit of that nonsense during this show. We'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of me, but basically that's what we're trying to do, is create a way for you to use that domain name to make money for yourself, but then to help the small businesses that are out there that are currently, well, let me just tell you this. It used to be, as a small business, possibly as a domain investor or a domain owner, this may be you as of some point. You used to run a small local company, and you remember the Yellow Pages? Used to take, and that was everything to a small business. You would, place your ad in the Yellow Pages, and that would be the source of customers, that and your brand name, and that was just how things were done. The better the ad, the better the placement, the more customers found you, possibly your location of your business. Well, then the internet came along and created all kinds of opportunities for internet savvy companies, internet savvy small businesses. That's kind of how I got started. I was this internet savvy guy that started to work with small businesses to help them, do search engine optimization and get their company business to the internet. And I used to just charge, crazy hourly rates to do that stuff. And those companies managed to make a lot of money. There's a lot of traffic that was coming through what we were doing. But it was still very much like Yellow Pages. They would pay some kind of monthly fee or some kind of hourly fee, and they would own the results. They would end up generating business, and they didn't have to share their business. What do I mean by share this business? I mean, they didn't have to pay commission. They didn't have to pay per click, per view, per order, per call. They didn't have to pay a percentage of their business to get a customer, which is what small businesses have to do right now. If you're a small business, even a towing company, they're paying, per click to Google, or they're paying per call to Google, or they're paying per call, that's like, how complicated that must be to a towing company. How complicated that must be to plumbers and painters and those who just want to have a skill, run a skill, and make a living. They don't want to give up part of their business for the sake of, not only are they giving up part of their business, they're also taking on the complication of internet, right? And what it is all of us internet guys, we think that, we have skills that can benefit them. And instead of kind of giving them ownership over what we can do for the internet, we just were like, hey, take 3%, take 4%, take 5%. And we essentially take a percentage of their business, or even more if you're doing it on a pay per order basis. And it seems to make sense for everybody, right? We bring in a customer. Hopefully you're following me. We bring in a customer, and maybe we take 30%, and they provide the service and they help the customer out. We took care of their marketing. Everybody's happy, right? I mean, are they? I mean, it's not how it used to be done. It used to be that they'd place an ad and take 100%. So all too often, I think we take for granted this idea that handing over a percentage of business is just kind of what we do. And in the many months and thousands of hours that I've been dealing with small businesses, they don't want to give you a percentage of their business. They don't want to do it, and they shouldn't have to. We need plumbers. We need painters. We need these local businesses. Now, I'm not talking SEO guys or some of these tech savvy industries or services. I'm talking the down in the trenches, blue collar workers. They don't want the complexity, and they don't want to give up a percentage of their business, their blood, sweat, and tears, their physical labor they don't want to give up a percentage of that. Like, I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to either. So part of what our business model is and what we do and what you have an opportunity to do with a domain name is you can share it. You can share it out to the industry. You can share it out to the small businesses in that arena that are represented by that domain name. And by share, I don't mean, give it away free. I'm saying you charge a membership. You become a more meaningful chamber of commerce is one of the ways that you might think of it. So the Chamber of Commerce, the idea that, you join a club and there's some benefit to it. Maybe to get your business, maybe to get you some kind of benefit. Well, what if you join a towing.com, or if you're a duct cleaning service, you join ductcleaners.com, and you can get business from your membership. You get other benefits that help you run your company, and you just pay your membership dues, pay a monthly fee. That's it. No 3% of your business, no 10% of your business. So the nice thing is it's a very small business mentality that I have, that I hope that there's some out there that will also maintain that small business mentality. You can generate wealth, you can generate revenue, you can generate a living just by helping small businesses out. So, and the nice thing is realistically, you can make a whole lot of money doing it. You don't have to do it out of charity. You can do it out of just a mentality of being out to help them rather than milk them for all they're worth. So let me just give you an example. Hopefully this makes sense, but let me just tell you about one company that ticked me off so much that I canceled them off because it just made no sense that they were trying to insert themselves into my business. And that is a company called ChartMogul. Let me share out a screen here. My goodness, I miss multiple screens so much. This is atrocious. I cannot stand one screen. How does anybody do this? Okay. So let me share out this screen so you can see. So this is ChartMogul over here. And ChartMogul is a company that for years allowed us to view our data, view our customers' data. Let me just kind of run you through a little bit of their site. And I'm on this slow signal, so it's probably going to drop like crazy. Okay, I won't do this. So what they do basically is ChartMogul allows you to, they show different reports, different analytics for SaaS companies and companies that are monthly reoccurring type companies like ours. And it used to be, hopefully that's loading, it used to be that they charged based on transaction. So we would run 100 transactions and they would make some amount of money per transaction, and they group it together. So it made sense, right? They have processing, they have things that are associated with transactions. If we run 10,000 transactions behind the scene, there's a certain amount of CPUs and memory and things that are associated with that. And that processing has a cost. Therefore, of course, they have to charge you for it. Well, my goodness, a few years ago, possibly as of this point, they moved to this model that you'll see on the screen here. And if you look, basically what they did was, take this up to, about 100,000 a month or so. What they're doing is they now charge based on how much money you make on a monthly recurring basis. So they're doing exactly what it is that I was saying companies do all the time anymore. They want a percentage of your business to run reports, to process transactions. Now, here's the thing. Do they have more expenses? If I run 100 transactions at $1,000 each versus 1,000 at $10 each, same amount of revenue, which one of those two costs them more in variable computing power, the more transactions, right? If you have 1 million transactions at $1 each, it's going to cost them a lot of storage, a lot of processing, things like that. But if you run, 10, well, let's keep it reasonable. If you run, say, 100, $10,000, anyhow, they want a percentage of your business rather than charging based on their expenses and the value they bring. They want to charge you more if you make more money. Yet, for a service like ChartMogul, they don't actually they don't bring anything more to the table. If I'm processing $500,000 a month in reoccurring transactions, they're really not bringing anything more to the table than what they did down here. The only thing that's changed from one place to the other is how much money I make and probably the number of transactions that they are dealing with. So basically what I did was I got ticked off and I canceled this company off because I told them, hey, you guys can charge me based on transactions, but I don't want you as a partner. I don't want you taking a percentage of our revenue, which, yes, it's a small percentage, but this is essentially the way that business is going. Hopefully that makes sense. Businesses, Google wants a percentage of your business. All these different services out there, in many cases, that don't provide a percentage of expense or service, they're trying to get a percentage of your business. So anyhow, I'm partly just sharing that just because it drives me nuts. Okay, lost track of my rant. I'm just going to shut up on that. So don't be a chart mogul. You can provide great service like ChartMogul, provide a great thing, but don't ask your customers to pay a percentage of their business when it doesn't, you don't have to. So let me see here. The internet speed is showing lightning faster. There you go. Well, good. I'm glad that once I go to a website or do anything more than one, my internet just drops. So hopefully kind of see where I'm going. So what our business plan is, the why behind it is basically we want to help small businesses generate more business without being greedy. I said it, right? Jerry Maguire at the beginning is we need to be less greedy. And he wrote the big thing. You guys watch Jerry Maguire, and he writes that, what's he called? His manifesto or his mission statement. And at the beginning, he basically said, we need to take less customers or we need to be less greedy. And that's what I'm encouraging you to be, is less greedy. And the funny thing is, you're going to make more money when you do that. So okay. ChartMogul. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Sharkmogul.com. I don't get it. It drives me nuts. I loved their product. It just I don't want to pay. Hopefully you can see the contrast. I told him I'm going to write a big blog about this. You guys are doing this. And here's the funny thing is I contacted them. I'm kind of hey, why are you doing this? They said that they're basically doing it. And this is not a specific quote. I'd have to look up the specific quote, but basically they're doing it because they want to be able to help, or it's not fair. It was along the lines of they wanted to use the money to pass it on to small businesses. So they were kind of taking from the rich and giving to the poor kind of thing. The response did not sit well with me as an entrepreneur. It was kind of I'm a capitalist, man. If I make more and I give you more business and this and that, don't be charging me more to hand it off to somebody else. Anyhow. Okay. So let's do another 3-minute business plan, kind of get us back on track a little bit. And there you go. Here you go. There you go. You want to sharkmogul.com, free to register. It's actually not a bad domain name for a brandable here. So let's go back over to our list of domain names. I've not seen anybody mention one of the domains that they wanted me to specifically go with. So I kind of want to try to do a 3-minute business plan on highschoolseniors.com. I don't know. It just was kind of fun. So I don't have a clock, but highschoolseniors.com. Well, first of all, before I go into this business plan, let me click on it, get you make sure one that it's even still going up for auction. So some of these times these domain names get pulled back from auction. Okay, it's still coming up. 1 day, 22 hours left, so 2 days away is where highschoolseniors.com is going to be. So my thought with highschoolseniors.com is there's all kinds of different things. I used to back in the day when I first started to develop websites, I had this idea for taking this local paper that we had and putting it on the internet. My first company name was Valley by Web. My goodness, $35 or $70 or whatever it was to get a domain name back in like 99 or 98. And the first domain I registered was Valley by Web. And it was the idea that I was taking the news of the Valley and sharing it over the web. Well, my idea for like getting readers to my website, bringing people in, was to share and talk about as many people as possible. And nowadays, I think it's called, there's a name for it. There's a name for everything. But it was the idea that you are mentioning people. They want to see their name in the news. They want to see their name on the web. So they're more likely to come and be like, oh yeah, there's me in the newspaper. There's me on this website. So I wanted to do a lot of things that listed people out. So highschoolseniors.com is this opportunity to, well, first of all, high school seniors most likely are going to be 18. So they'll be able to participate kind of legally without dealing with underage people. I think that's probably an important thing. I don't know, maybe not. So we get their name up on the site. They can register themselves, create a profile. And then if you can bring them in to kind of register to show up, what you can possibly do is let them do this whole social media kind of thing where it's like, hey, I'm a high school senior. Here's where I'm going to college, or here's what I'm interested in. And you kind of center this informational pool around being a high school senior. And you as a adult, probably many years out of high school, like myself, I'm barely out of high school. Anyhow, chances are you forget how big being a high school senior was, where nowadays being a high school senior, but being a high school senior is a big deal. It's a big deal. You're starting your real life in many ways. So I think there's a market that is interested. So it's just a matter of getting them to participate. So how would you make money? There's so many cash grabs in this whole high school. If you've ever had a high school senior graduate, which I've had a few, it's a cash grab. You got people selling class rings, class photos, cap and gowns. My dear goodness, you have cap and gowns, even though you're pretty much required to get it, it costs a fortune for some freaking garbage cloth, and charge for the tassel. You got to charge for anyhow, all kinds of different things just to be kind of a senior. There's a big money grab that happens for high school seniors. So I'm guessing you could probably monetize the domain name through these cash grab places that are, charging hundreds of dollars to do something that probably costs them $15, So there's probably going to be some money there for highschoolseniors.com. There you go. 3-minute business plan-ish. I don't know how many minutes. So highschoolseniors.com, over $12 over on GoDaddy Auctions. And the thing with this domain name that I like that I like about many domain names is when it describes what it is you're going to find on that domain name. I like to give people what they're looking for. You go to highschoolseniors.com, there's somehow high school seniors. Like it's a social registry, kind of like the old Classmates or something like that, where like they had all the high school classes on there and you can go in, and that was scammy garbage. What you can do instead is kind of create a social media experience for high school seniors, where it's more of just a profile, a who's who of high school seniors. I like who's thing. In fact, if we go to and talk about the real estate awards, couple of the other domains I have on there, the who's who is such a a play, especially in real estate. The idea of, oh, we're an award-winning real estate company. I'm an award-winning real estate agent. It allows them to sell themselves as somebody more than just a real estate agent, and at the same time allows you to possibly bring in eyes, bring in a bunch of different stuff. So, and here you go, Vito adding in. You guys rock. I so appreciate you guys sharing this kind of stuff. What a community we have here of people that are just looking to get domain names in the hands, hopefully, of people that are looking to develop them. Please, please, please grab them and develop them. So even if it's something simple. So just in case, there you go. Hand read right now. Hopefully somebody that wants to develop it will be somebody that will get something like that. So I'm trying to make sure that I have a resemblance of getting on track. So I was talking a little bit about why we're buying domain names. And what we're looking to do is buy domain names that are very precise. These domain names that describe an industry. And we're going to share them out just like we do with towing.com. Towing.com, it's really simple. Like, this stuff is not like, we're not doing anything super advanced. And I feel bad to like have my programmers work on stuff that is like, I know how it is. I'm a coder too. I want to work on high tech stuff that's like cutting edge and really solving some kind of problem that nobody else has ever dealt with. We're not doing that with these domains. We're doing very simple stuff and allowing, we're basically sharing those domain names. We're profiting in the meantime, but we're sharing the domain name out with these small businesses. So it's not about the technology. It's not about some being high tech, but what you are doing is helping a lot of hardworking people generate more business without asking for a percentage of the business. Hopefully, run whatever business you want to. For us, we do it on a per month basis. They pay us a flat monthly fee. They can generate thousands and thousands of dollars, and we just take the same amount. It's just a flat monthly fee. It's a membership fee is what we charge. So there you go. Yeah, exactly. Cap and gown, made in nothing says, teaching your high schoolers, your high school seniors, like making them pay a couple $100 for, cap and gown that's probably costing nothing. It's just ridiculous. Especially like nowadays, like what I've noticed is high school senior portraits still cost about the same amount, even though we don't print as many of them. It's just for like the CD. Now it's nice to have the rights and stuff. So unschooling, I did not see feel free to, in fact, I don't know your name. Anyhow, I'm messaging with you on the domain name that we're talking about. Feel free to message me that link or whatever. I'll get that taken care of on the show because I'd love to announce, purchasing that domain name. Kind of perfect for this our business model. So yeah, if you have any domain names that you're looking to sell in our arena, we're still looking to buy. Although we're kind of winding down a little bit. We're limited on our payment options because I'm traveling and can't do things like wire transfers or any of that stuff. Okay. Let's see here. Well, when in doubt, I always go to a 3-minute business plan. Let's go look at another domain name and see what we can find to talk about building a business on. And if you have any questions on these, let's go to the real estate awards. So in here, there's realestateaward.com, which you can see that this here is referring to some search engine juice. There's this domain name has some search engine optimization benefits. And here's the plural. These might get pulled back. If I had to guess, these domains may not make it to auction. It's kind of odd that they're both going and that they have SEO juice. You'll see search realestateawards.com with a S is $35 currently. And let's go up here and grab realestateaward.com. guessing they were owned by the same place. That one's currently $12. 4 days, 5 days left over on the singular. And then again, 4 days left over on the plural as well. Of course, highly recommend that you try to grab the pair of them. And this will again be a who's who play that you'll go for. So yes, ideally you can base this on, you can base real estate awards on the idea of, I don't like real estate awards. What's some data? Like there's public data in real estate. You can sales volume, biggest sales. Some of those things are public data that you can pull them down from county records. And a lot of times people are like, do you seed your sites with data? Hey, that's how Zillow was made, right? They use public data, pulled it all together, added a formula, put it out there, and now they're this giant company. Realestateaward.com, you pull some public data, you look at the biggest sale per quarter per month, you put it up on the site, and you're like Bob Pearson of Orlando, Florida, pulls down the realestateaward.com award for biggest sale this month. And now Bob Pearson can put his little trophy icon on his site, and then booyah, you have people backlinking to you, people promoting your domain name. That's probably how they have their search engine juice already on here. So do that exact same thing, and then you can start selling ads for real estate people. You can do a real estate agent directory, which, of course, I love directories. I love listing out companies. And the beauty of these, the word realtors, you're not allowed to use because it's a trademark, but real estate, perfectly fine. So that, you can't, if it was realtors award or something like that, you couldn't do that, but realestateaward.com, you can. I plan on putting a couple bids in on these domain names. The plural goes for, they estimated 3,500. That I don't think they're going to go for that much. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's hard to say when the search engine side of things. Let me go over to my friend SEMrush here. Realestateawards.com. I'm going to check the plural because that was the one that had the most kind of search engine juice, I'm calling it. But we're referring to things like domain name authority. Let me change that over to domain overview. Apologies. Okay, so that's really not an authority score of 8's really not setting any records. It has some, hopefully, in fact, you might want to look into it a little bit if you're going to bid too much. Okay, here we go. The singular is 27. That's pretty good. It's starting to matter in the search engines. So, 27, hopefully, you'd have to kind of look at this to make sure that it's not garbage. You want to make sure there's no, try to get an idea of if there's any penalties or anything. I won't go into that too much, except for I'm a little nervous that there's penalties associated with these domains. They could possibly be a little bit on the spammy side. So just use caution if you're going to be bidding. And hopefully, were you able to see? Oh, you're not able to see SEMrush because I have it on the wrong window because I'm not freaking used to this. Here's what I'm trying to show you guys. Apologies. I'm trying to show you SEMrush over here. SEMrush is a tool I'm using. It's a paid tool that I use. 27 is the authority score that they currently have for real estate awards, or award singular. The plural version was 8, so it really wasn't anything. So there you go. There's a little bit to that. I like the who's his play. So when I say who's his play, what I'm referring to is they used to put out these nicely hardback bound who's who guides, and they used to be like who's who in real estate, who's who in marketing, or this or that. And basically it's a freaking yearbook based on category, and they would include you. And of course they would do that because they'd know you'd pay $88 for your copy of this hardbound, like freaking vanity book that's going to sit on your shelf for no other reason other than to have your picture in it. Like we're such simple creatures. we're simple creatures. It's ridiculous, but realistically, you probably have them, and I'm sure I've been darn close to doing that. I don't think I have, so I think I can claim a little bit of benefits. Let me see here. I got some questions coming in. Let me try to pick these up. Do you charge monthly fees, Drew? Do you offer yearly? And are those charges automated to charge? I love it when you're here, Peter. You ask questions that I'm sure everybody has that I forget to run over. So for the most part, we try to do all monthly. I prefer monthly over yearly. Things change. And if you do yearly, there's just such a feeling of like you're almost like committed to that person to not change. And I like to make changes and to always be improving. And sometimes the change that we make isn't better. So if you do it over annual, I just feel like there's just so much risk. Just do it month. I do everything month to month. We do no contracts. There's no contract. Nobody's ever held to us. They can cancel anytime. And it's just a membership basis. You can, of course, do yearly. We do have some things that we do that are yearly, but we try not to. It is my preference to do monthly. And yes, everything we do is automated. We use Braintree payments for our, and you can Google that and find their website. I think it's braintreepayments.com. That is it's basically a PayPal subsidiary that does payment processing. Stripe is actually probably even better. If I could do it over again, that's one of the mistakes I made, was going Braintree instead of Stripe. Stripe is a very similar service that will let you automate monthly recurring charges. There's a bunch of them out there as well. So, and let me see here. The other one we have from Ahmed is, expireddomains.net. I kind of usually give them a shout out. The tool that we use for these over here is, this is expireddomains.net. And we, of course, use these links. We click on them, and that's what we put. It's a free tool. So the only way they get paid is if you click on it and then bid. It doesn't cost you any more. So, it's a free tool. Should use it. Certainly worth doing. And let me see. Our filter settings is actually what you're looking for. Let me share those out. I've shared those out before. In this case, I'm not actually showing my filters. This is the show I went through and added them to my watch list. But I will just go ahead and show the filters real quick. We get rid of numbers. We get rid of hyphens. In my case, we keep it down to English. We do 1 to 3 words. We try to keep it down to 2 or 1 though. And then we change we only want them to matter for the last couple of days or for this period of this show. And then we go over here and I make it .com only. So those are the filters that we add to our search engine stuff. So nothing all that special that we use on our filters. And hopefully it is up on the screen. So it's 8 total filters that we use. And that is just to search through. Let me actually show you this as well. We go to this and there's marketplace domains up here. I use the GoDaddy expired auctions, as well as the Snap Name pre-release, Namejet pre-release, although just use Snap Names. You can do Name Liquidate over here. And then, of course, Drop Catch is usually a pretty good one as well. All these, of course, are options. GoDaddy seems to have the best auctions nowadays. Used to be that Snap Names was kind of everything. But, yeah, more power to GoDaddy. Okay, let's see here. And then finally, okay, yeah, and then just that message from, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm working on. Did you send? Anyhow, I won't have I don't want to have necessarily a conversation with Unschooling in the comments, but I did not get a link or anything to that. I'll have to look it up in my, I don't want to pull up my email necessarily because it's going to drop my connection. So yeah, so working on a good domain name to kind of work into our event category with unschooling.com over there. So let me see here. So there you go. That was realestateawards.com. And if you're watching, if this is one of your first times ever watching From Domain to Profit, it's a rough show. This is me. I'm sitting in a hotel room. My family's out walking around to kind of try to give me a little bit of space. And it's just a guy with a laptop today. Usually I'm in my office, have a little bit more technology, some graphics and things. I think it's still rough. I don't care to run a clean show. I hope to run a show that can help you buy the right domain names, get some direction on developing them, make some money, and help other people. So what am I looking to do when we buy these domain names, develop them? What's kind of the big picture? I want to provide, and this is crazy. Let me just talk crazy with you for just 1 second. I want to provide an alternative to Google. There you go. I don't know if I try not to say that kind of thing because I worry Big Brother's watching. But I want to provide an alternative to Google. And I think domains are that alternative. Domains are the alternative to Google. And how is that? Well, domains, there used to be this time and place where domains were everything. It was kind of back in the Alta Vista day or the Yahoo day. It was kind of how the internet was set up. It was this idea that you're going to type in a domain name and go to a website that's going to give you information about something. And you want, vehicle transport. You need to move a car somewhere. You go to vehicletransport.com. Why? Because you don't know what else to search for. You don't have like some Google database of sites. So domain names could have been how we all navigate the internet. And then Google took advantage of the opening, the fact that for most domain names, you would go to them and at best it's available. At worst, you're hit with a bunch of pop-ups, a bunch of ads, a bunch of links, a bunch of stuff that just does not bring value to the user, does not help that user get what they're looking for. Well, much of why I do this show every week is hoping that I can encourage you out there to take a domain name that's in the back of your portfolio that you've been holding off on doing something with, that you've always wanted to develop, and get moving on bringing value to the world with it, to where when the user goes to that site, they're no longer met with a for sale landing page or some ads or whatnot that are like, what I'm talking about, those parked pages. Instead, you're providing them direction, you're providing them value, you're helping them solve the need that they have, to where we're giving the users an option alternative to Google as far as to find the service information that they're looking for. But then more importantly, we want to provide, and this is where domain name, like as domain owners, we can provide the internet real estate and develop an internet property that can give these small businesses an alternative to Google as well. No longer will they have to pay per click or per call or any of the like Google's doing trials to essentially, charge per order and different other things that are essentially inserting themselves into small businesses in a way that just does not make sense. Like it makes sense. It makes sense for Google. It doesn't make sense for the small businesses that they just want to provide their freaking service without like handing over everything over. Like they provide the service, let them make their money. And we can build out domain names in a way that allows them to generate business without handing over a percentage of their business. I kind of feel like it's kind of the duty of domain owners in some way to help them do that. And you're going to make more money doing, a towing.com business model or some of the domain name models that we're trying to work on. You can make more money doing that than what you can selling a domain name in many cases. It just requires different skills and a whole heck of a lot of effort. But I mean, it's good stuff for the world, good stuff for you as a human being. So let me pull open. We can look at doing one more 3-minute business plan. Actually, let me just kind of zoom in on these a little bit. And I'll do some 30-second business plans on these, because some of them are pretty fun. So what's this look like? Okay. So over here we have, we talked about Real Estate Award, highschoolseniors.com, allergyblog.com. I only mentioned that one. I have I know a guy that runs an allergy clinic in Texas. So I'm going to mention that one to him. But allergies, they're increasing. More people have allergies now than ever before. So it's a growth market. And it just so happens to have a reasonable domain name. I don't know if these domain names are, I'll click on a couple of them. Let me just, boat dealership. Boatdealerships.com. Let me click over to that one just to make sure that it hasn't been pulled back. But I mean, boatdealerships.com, that domain name is really good for our kind of domain name. Think about it. There's all kinds of boat dealerships out there on the internet, out in the world. Boat dealerships do not have the same intense corporate holding that the auto industry does. So there's a lot more independent and resale boat dealerships and things like that. List them on your domain name, charge them a monthly fee, small monthly fee, put together that directory, provide value to the user, but then also help boat dealerships. And here's one of the goals that you should have. And this is one of the, I call the sites directories, but in reality, it's kind of a cuss word. It's just, I get that you understand it as a directory. You want to allow boat dealerships to edit their own information, add information to the site to where they don't need their own website. They can use you as their Facebook page, as their own web page, and things like that. So you have to have a database-driven application behind it, so that way the boat dealerships can add information and edit things through your website. That's one of the big differences in directories that are out there. So hopefully that makes sense. So boat dealerships is a good one. That one is $65 currently, ends in about a week, 7 days. I added caraccidentinjuries.com up here just because, there's a lot of lawyers that are always looking to target that industry. So if you could put something up on that to capitalize on them. City Monitoring, if you want to help Big Brother. City Monitor, create software or some kind of monitoring tool. Banner companies, kind of a nice little basic thing. I think of Banner as far as the printed banners that people could hang outside their businesses. Auto Skills, go with that with kind of auto mechanic jobs or something like that, or video tutorials. You charge them to learn skills to where they can become a mechanic or something like that. That'd be fun. So there you go. A couple quick business plans on those domain names. Hopefully those are kind of fun. Let me look at some of these messages coming through. I'll just put this up here just out of kindness. So personal optician, the eyeglass people, that's not something I'd be interested in. Somebody out there might be interested in that domain name. Let me kind of chat. I'm going to put your message up here. Drew, how does it work when a domain investor has a name like duckcleaners.com and they can generate passive income? Hopefully I've talked a little bit about that. The passive income comes from just treating it like real estate. Duckcleaners.com, domain investors, we always talk about domain names as the real estate of the internet, and it's so true. And as real estate, you can sell the domain name, you can sell the real estate, or you can maybe just put up a billboard on it and put up an ad. That's kind of how parking works. It's basically an ad passing the eyeballs onto the people that advertise. But instead, what we do with our sites is we try to share those domain names, and we put together think of it like a trade show. We're building a trade show floor of related products, services to what that domain name describes. So duckcleaners.com, when we build that out, it's going to be the services, local services. So you'll be able to find the duck cleaners in that area that provide that service. And then there'll probably also be options to purchase equipment and things like that. Actually, instead of listing the equipment, in most cases, all we do is list the companies that sell the equipment. They can list their products and services and things like that. We don't want to get into, I personally don't want to get into selling products. I want to just help the companies, all these different small businesses out there that are in that industry. I want to help them have a place that they can sell their goods and services. Those small businesses, help them do their thing instead of me coming in and somehow, taking a piece of it. And there's plenty of money that can be made just by charging a fee to be registered, so they can pay to kind of show up on the show floor. So if you've ever been to a trade show, they pay for those trade show booths. They pay to be in that space, and then they can do things to pay to get more exposure or a larger booth space, maybe some ads and things like that. That's essentially what it is. More of a metaphor than, the reality. One of the things that we do, this is kind of one of those tips that hopefully you'll consider applying. I think it really, really is beneficial if you don't let the biggest companies pay to own your freaking domain name. By that, I mean, for example, towing.com, for years, ever since we bought this in 2007, we've had the largest companies out there asking to, essentially buy a banner ad and advertise all over the site and stuff. And yes, we can make money doing that. Or we've also had companies that want to pay to be above everybody else. Pretty common. We made a decision early on that we wanted our site to be useful to the user more than make more money. So you may make more money by letting people pay more to be up top, but it hurts the user because essentially the user just wants whoever's closest in the case of towing.com, and they don't care who pays the most. So, but in duckcleaners.com, we'll probably provide an option to show by who's closest, option of who was first to list, option of maybe all kinds of different things. There'll be all kinds of options to sort it. But essentially, you're creating a trade show floor for each of your domain names in whatever way that looks like. Hopefully that kind of answers that. I don't think I've ever used that metaphor necessarily, but that's essentially what it is. So I try to keep these shows down to an hour, so I am going to wrap this up. And this is the last one of 2020. What a year. Crazy. Hopefully, no matter what your journey has been over the course of 2020, hopefully, even if there was dips, you are now at a place to where you're looking at 2021 and you're excited about the future. You're excited about the year ahead. And I look forward to our show next week. And I look forward to sharing some, maybe some of the more domain names of what we've purchased, as well as more of our plans. But then also next week, maybe we'll talk about some of the goals for the year. I'd be curious to know your goals, whether it's in domaining or development or business. What are your goals for the next year? I hope you have some. I hope you think about the future, visualize your future being better off, and then over the course of Domain to Profit and whatever else that you're out there learning and doing, you can help get there. You can help get to that better life that you have out in the future, all in 2021. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Take care.